Have you ever noticed something strange while watching Peppa Pig? Every single one of Peppa's friends has parents, except Susie Sheep. We've seen Mummy Sheep plenty of times, but her dad? He's the only parent who never appears in the series. Not once. His total absence has left fans scratching their heads for years, and some of the theories people have come up with are so wild, they'll change the way you look at the show forever. Some explanations are realistic, others are completely bizarre, and a few are so dark they make you wonder how this could ever be connected to a lighthearted kids' cartoon. So, where is Susie Sheep's dad? Let's go down the rabbit hole of theories and see what we can uncover. The first theory is a simple but believable one. Maybe Susie's dad is just living abroad. If you remember the episode Suzy Goes Away, Mummy Sheep almost moved overseas because she got a job offer in another country. But in the end, the job fell through and Suzy stayed put in England. At first glance, it just looks like a quick storyline. But some fans believe there's more to it. They think Mummy Sheep accepted that job to reunite with her husband, who already lives abroad. The most common guess? The United States. If that's the case, Daddy Sheep might have taken a high-paying job across the ocean and sends money home to support his family. Mummy Sheep's sadness when the move fell through could be about more than just the job. Maybe she was upset about not being able to bring Suzy back together with her dad. This explanation would mean Suzy's dad isn't gone at all. He's just working far away. It's realistic, but it still doesn't explain why the show never even mentions him. And that's what makes people wonder if there's something more mysterious going on. But if he's not overseas, then maybe he's closer than we think. What if Susie Sheep's dad is a character we've been hearing all along, but never actually seeing? That's right. Some fans think Daddy Sheep is the narrator of Peppa Pig. Think about it. The narrator is everywhere in the show. He explains what's happening, sometimes in the most obvious ways, and his voice is present in almost every episode. Just like Daddy Sheep, he's never seen on screen. Could it be that Susie's father somehow became the narrator, watching over all of the characters from the shadows? It might sound crazy, but the Peppa Pig universe actually has magical elements, like the Tooth Fairy showing up. So it wouldn't be impossible for the narrator to be more than just a storytelling device. If Daddy Sheep became this mysterious voice, it could explain why he's never around in Susie's life. But here's the strange part. If he's narrating Peppa's adventures, why wouldn't he be more focused on his own daughter? That's the part that doesn't quite add up, unless the whole point is that he's always there, but in a way that Suzy doesn't even realize. And if Daddy Sheep could be hiding as the narrator, maybe he's also hiding somewhere else. Another theory suggests we've already seen Daddy Sheep. We just didn't realize it. According to this idea, Suzy's dad might actually be Mr. Goat, a character who lives in Italy. At first, this sounds impossible. After all, the couples in Peppa Pig are always the same species. Pigs marry pigs, ponies marry ponies. Why would a sheep be with a goat? But in the real world, sheep and goats are actually very similar animals. They can even have offspring together. So it's not completely out of the question. Here's where it gets interesting. Mr. Goat has a daughter named Gabriella. She looks about the same age as Suzy, but her mother has never been shown. Could Gabriella and Suzy actually be sisters? Maybe Mummy Sheep lived in Italy for a while, married Mr. Goat, and then moved back to England after a divorce. That would explain why nobody in Peppa's family recognized Mr. Goat when they met him. Even more suspicious, Mummy Sheep is a single mom, and so is Mr. Goat. He's raising Gabriella without a partner, while Mummy Sheep raises Suzy. Could it be that the two girls share the same parents, but were split up after a separation? If that's the case, Suzy and Gabriella might be half-sisters, or maybe even twins. Imagine how shocking it would be if the two ever found out. But since Suzy never mentions it to Peppa, maybe she doesn't know at all. And if the Mr. Goat theory sounds a little strange, wait until you hear the darker ones. Some fans believe Daddy Sheep isn't overseas, or hiding as the narrator, or living a double life in Italy. They think he's gone. For good. This theory suggests Daddy Sheep passed away before the events of the show. And while that sounds way too dark for a kid's cartoon, there are little hints that point in that direction. For example, in one episode, when Peppa's playgroup visits Pedro Pony in the hospital, Suzy casually says he's probably just sleeping, because that's what sick people do. It sounds innocent, but some fans think she says it with unusual confidence, almost like she's repeating what her mom once told her. If her father had been seriously ill, maybe Mummy Sheep explained it to her in a simple way. He's just sleeping. It's possible Suzy still believes that to this day. And her dream of becoming a nurse? Maybe that's her way of feeling closer to her father, or even a wish to take care of him if he were still here. An even sadder twist is that maybe Daddy Sheep didn't die, but fell into a coma. In that case, he really would just be sleeping, with a chance of waking up someday. Can you imagine how heartbreaking and heartwarming it would be if a future episode showed him finally opening his eyes after missing so many years? It's dark, but it might be the most emotional explanation yet. This theory might sound like pure science fiction, but it actually has a strange connection to real life. If you look closely, there are no male sheep in the entire Peppa Pig universe. None. Suzy's family is all female. Mummy Sheep, Grandma Sheep, Cousin Sheep. But no dad, no uncles, no brothers. It's almost like male sheep don't exist in this world. So where did Suzy come from? Some fans believe she wasn't born naturally. Instead, she was cloned. This might sound crazy, but the very first cloned animal in history was a sheep named Dolly. And she was cloned in the United Kingdom, the same country where Peppa Pig is set. Coincidence? Maybe not. There's more. Suzy wears pajamas with an anchor symbol on them. At first, it just looks like a cute design, but in the world of Peppa Pig, anchors are always connected to inventors and explorers, like Grandpa Rabbit, who's known for building strange machines. Could he have been the one behind Suzy's creation? If Suzy really was cloned, it would explain why she acts a little differently from the other kids. Some fans even think her mysterious and slightly dramatic personality could be tied to her questioning her own identity. After all, if you found out your dad was a laboratory experiment, you'd have questions too. It's definitely one of the wildest theories, but it's not the only dark one. Here's another theory that gets even darker. What if Suzy's dad isn't abroad, or a narrator, or in a hospital bed, but in jail? It's not something the show would ever say out loud, but it would explain a lot. Mummy Sheep being a single parent could mean Daddy Sheep did something wrong and ended up behind bars. Maybe that's why she wanted to move away, to escape the judgment of others in their community. The show avoids heavy adult themes, but it sometimes leaves subtle hints for parents watching with their kids. The complete lack of male sheep could be one of those hints. Maybe Daddy Sheep isn't shown because his situation is too complicated for a children's cartoon. If this theory is true, it paints Susie's life in a much sadder light. She might not talk about her father, simply because it's a secret her mother doesn't want her to share. And while the jail theory is dark, the next one is heartbreaking in a completely different way. If you've paid close attention to Susie's design, you've probably noticed something odd about her pajamas. They have an anchor symbol on them. Most kids' pajamas in the show are just plain, but Susie's have this distinct symbol. And in the world of Peppa Pig, anchors are never random. Grandpa Pig wears them because of his love for sailing. Grandpa Rabbit wears them too. Anchors are always tied to the sea. So why would Susie have them? The theory goes that her pajamas are a tribute to her father. Susie's dad might have been a sailor who went missing at sea. Maybe he was lost during a voyage, or even lived a double life as a pirate. His disappearance would explain his total absence from the show, while the pajamas could be Mummy Sheep's way of keeping his memory alive for Susie. It's a subtle but heartbreaking detail. Susie wearing an anchor to bed every night might mean she's unknowingly carrying a reminder of the dad she never got to know. And while that theory is tragic, the final one might be the most realistic. The last theory is the simplest, and maybe the most believable. Susie's parents might just be divorced. Think about it. Divorce is common in real life, but it's not something a preschool cartoon would want to highlight. Instead of confusing kids with complicated family dynamics, the show just ignores it. They focus only on Susie and her mom, since that's what matters most to a young child's perspective. If this theory is true, then Daddy Sheep might still be alive and well, living in another town, maybe even remarried. The show just chooses not to bring him up because it doesn't fit the happy, simple tone. It's not dramatic, it's not supernatural, but sometimes the most boring explanation is the right one. So where is Susie Sheep's dad? We may never know for sure, but the fan theories range from fascinating to downright chilling. Maybe he's working overseas. Maybe he's secretly the narrator we've been hearing all along. Maybe he's Mr. Goat, raising another daughter in Italy. Or maybe the truth is darker, that he passed away, is in jail, or even vanished at sea. And then, of course, there's the wild clone theory, which ties Susie to real-world science in a way that's almost too perfect to ignore. At the end of the day, the most likely answer is the simplest one, that Susie's parents are divorced, and the show just doesn't bring it up. But part of the fun is that we don't know for sure. The mystery keeps fans guessing, and it makes Susie Sheep one of the most intriguing characters in the entire series. So, what do you think? Which theory do you believe? Is Daddy Sheep still out there somewhere? Or has he been hiding in plain sight the whole time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And who knows, maybe one day we'll finally get the episode that reveals the truth.